Better buckle up. Better get the back and neck braces on. Better make sure the crash helmet is on extra snug, 'cause we're going Monster Truckin USA. The all-out, undisputable king of big American motorsports. From the USA's Iron Heartland come the 6-ton rockets with the 6-foot wheels. From America's lunatic fringe come the drivers bold enough to launch him into low orbit.
I really enjoy this. This is so much fun. I mean, you can't imagine what it's like.
Fire-belching mammoths of steel that are going ballistic. Names like the Skull Bandit, Robo-Shark, Wizard, the Super Special, Danger Zone, the Crusher, Shotgun, California Kid, and Big Dummy, just to name a few. Insane 1,500 horsepower trucks doing the sideways crab walk before they crush Pintos and flatten Granadas. It could only happen in America. It's the ultimate in heavy metal contact racing. It's Monster Truckin USA.
Yeah. Okay, my name's Danny Woodcock. I'm the youngest brother of Terry Woodcock. And I've been driving monster trucks, racing monster trucks for about 3 years now, except for this short stint when I was in Japan for 8 months. And just got back October, but I do plan on going back. And I decided to get back into racing with my brother here in Bakersfield. And the nickname, Dangerous Dan, came from driving this. Used to have a Toyota, 79 Toyota body on it, and I raced it for about 1.5 years or better, and we got the name Dangerous Toy from a rock and roll band, and we named it Dangerous Toy, and from that came Dangerous Dan. When I'd sign autographs and such, they go, "Are you Dangerous Dan?" And so I think that I all of a sudden started making myself Dangerous Dan after that. The very first time I drove was on my birthday about 3 years ago, the day of my birthday. And I'd never driven a monster truck before. He told me hop in it, and that night, that weekend actually, I took second place. I went up against Gravedigger in the finals each night, and I took second place every night. And that was my first time driving. Since then, I've been driving for him, and I love it. I probably won't stop. Yeah, but I've been working with my brother doing this type stuff for, God, we've been doing it for 10 years or better. Yeah. The first time the first time I got airborne, it was like, I was afraid to hurt the truck. You can't hurt the truck. I can't hurt the truck. Maybe somebody else could, but you can't hurt these trucks. And I really enjoy this. This is so much fun. I mean, you can't imagine what it's like flying over cars at 30 miles an hour, and how much air you can get, and when you land, how it feels. It's just the adrenaline pumps. Like the very first time I drove, I had butterflies in my stomach, but thereafter it was just like, it's like I could do this forever, and I'd do it for free. Future, bigger, better, faster, further, more money.
Well, initially, when you're coming up to a set of cars, you get 20, 30 feet from the cars, you can see the cars. But you start hitting 15, 10 feet to the cars, you lose sight. And when you're running a fast track and you hit a dirt ramp, you lose sight of your cars at about 15 feet, and then you know it's like you replay in your mind how far you away from the cars you were, and you feel the truck hit the ramp. So you're in the air, and I can honestly tell you, I don't know about other drivers, but when I hit the air, I'm not looking out the window at any particular thing. I'm driving all by feel. And I've had times where the truck's gone up and then just starts setting sideways. Well, you're holding onto the steering wheel with both hands. You're strapped in the seat, so you're going to move whichever way the truck moves. And when it sinks down on one side and it hits down so hard that you feel the front tire give way and it debeads and it goes flat and the truck swings like this, you know, that's pretty wild. When I'm performing, I like to play to the audience, and I like to see a lot of audience participation. And there's been a few times where I've gone out in the truck, and I know I didn't do anything real spectacular, and I'll look at the crowd, and I'll be sitting there like that, and I'll come back, even if my turn's over, I'll come back into the arena and try to do one more thing to at least get a reaction out of the crowd, because there's nothing better than jumping the truck, getting out, and everybody in the stands is standing up clapping at you because you just excited them beyond belief. I mean, that's Monster Truck racing.
Yeah, no, I got involved. I was building a lot of street trucks and a lot of performance vehicles and show trucks for the car show circuit. And we had an idea one year after seeing a monster truck about 12 years ago of building a monster truck. So somebody came to me, Seth Dalton, and said, hey, what do you think? You want to try and build a monster truck? So, you know, I took it on as a challenge. At that time, monster trucks were more of a showpiece than a trophy, and were used for display and not really, there was no racing involved. Very little crushing, in fact. They were kind of just a display piece. So I built a truck, the first truck called the Skull Bandit, and that's how I got involved. And then I've been in the sport since, I don't know, 12, 13 years now, and it's just kind of evolved, and I've been there through all the changes with monster trucks, so it's kind of been exciting. You know, I've seen it from the aspect of just shows at car shows and being on display and crushing two little cars, just rolling over them at barely an idle, to today's fast pace, you know, flying high through the air and going 60, 70 miles an hour as fast as you can. Getting air in a monster truck takes a little bit of technique. It's not the same thing as when you're racing. When you're racing, your objective is to finish fast. So the first time you get real incredible air in a monster truck, it's something you'll never forget. It's like slow motion. You throttle just as you hit the car. I mean, you throttle it, you put it to the floor, and the truck just glides. It seems like everything stopped. It's like somebody put it in slow motion. And then you land, and that landing is something you'll never forget, because your head, you didn't know you could move your head in that many positions. It bounces all over the place. But when you settle out, I mean, you just have this adrenaline rush like nothing. I mean, nothing you've experienced before. Exciting, it's guts. I mean, you get out there, every track is different. Some tracks are short and real fast-paced with steep ramps and fly high. Other tracks are really fast and long. racing monster trucks takes a lot of guts. You got to go out there and really study your track.
Endurance plays a big factor in the monster truck racing. It starts out before you even race, before you bounce around the trucks, you need to have a strong back and a strong neck. You got to set the trucks up, and all the tires weigh about 800 pounds apiece. And you got to jack the trucks up. You got to change all 4 tires by yourself, you know, with no aid of any special equipment. You got to wrestle the tires on, put on the bug nuts, put the air gun, and you got to go to the back, jack it up, do the same thing. Then after all that, then you're ready to race. And I think, you know, if you wear a back brace and a helmet and a neck brace, I don't think you got to be Superman to drive the truck, but I think if you had a bad back, monster truck racing wouldn't be what you need. You know, I've had a few times where I've come down in a truck, basically planted my butt right in the seat, and it felt like my spine went right on through, you know. I've never been hurt that way, but it does smart after a while. But, and after all that racing is over, and, you know, your adrenaline and everything has been pumping, you're tired, well, then it's time to tear down the truck. And again, you got to manually take the tires off, load them on the trailer, load the trucks, chain them down. It's a pretty demanding, in a physical aspect, it's pretty demanding. I find kids are the biggest fans in the monster truck. Young kids probably from the age, well, toddlers. I mean, I've seen people bring their babies out and they'll be looking at the trucks like that. Probably from, you know, little babies to 15, and then it's real funny. The older people, like elderlies, I don't want to say old, 60 and on, they really are impressed with the trucks too. And I think those are, if you spend enough time with them, signing autographs and do a good show for them, you got yourself a fan for life. I'm Dale Boucher. I drive the Skull Bandit monster truck. Okay, when you're running the trucks, your adrenaline works overtime, and you hold on the steering wheel tight, and you don't know, you know, everything that's going on. You got to think just like this when you drive, and if you're not right on, you're gonna lose your race if you don't dial yourself in. So the adrenaline comes into a big part. Okay, I was doing a race last weekend, and I got in line. I was working up the race with Gravedigger in the finals, and I hit it was a 2-car track, dirt ramps, so right there you know it's going to be a real fast track. And when you take off, I hit the first set of cars, came down and landed. Well, I hit the second set of cars in the dirt ramps, and the truck went up on its side. So I grabbed the steering wheel, I'm holding on tight, and I knew it was going to want to roll. And when it hit the ground, the side that was on the ground, the front tire blew out, plus popped my power steering pump, so instantly the front tires turned to a right-hand turn. Then the truck gets up on its side like this, and it's sliding, and we're doing about 45, and that really wakes you up. I mean, you got to settle the truck down, you got to try to get it straight, not roll it. All those things, it's hard to describe what that feels like. Actually, when you're coming up to a set of cars, you get 20, 30 feet from the cars, you can see the cars. But you start hitting 15, 10 feet to the cars, you lose sight. And when you're running a fast track and you hit a dirt ramp, you lose sight of your cars at about 15 feet, and then you know from, it's like you replay in your mind how far you weighed from the cars you were, and you feel the truck hit the ramp. So you're in the air, and I can honestly tell you, I don't know about other drivers, but when I hit the air, I'm not looking out the window at any particular thing. I'm driving all by feel. And I've had times where the truck's gone up and then just starts setting sideways, but you're holding onto the steering wheel with both hands, you're strapped in the seat, so you're gonna move whichever way the truck moves. And when it sinks down on one side and it hits down so hard that you feel the front tire give way and it debeads and it goes flat and the truck swings like this, you know, that's pretty wild. I believe monster truck racing is an all-American sport. I mean, where else can you get big trucks, big tires, And your main categories is Ford, Chevrolet, and Dodge. You don't have all the foreign Mazda, Toyota, or anything like that. It's all American-made. And I think the American people consider this the big sport in motorsports.
My name is Doug Demokis, and I'm known as the Wheelie King. When I did my first wheelie, I was, I think around 15 years old. Ecstasy. It was the best feeling in the world. I got a job as a guard working in the pit area at the professional races, the professional motocross races there. And I got kind of bored, so I started wheeling around in the pits. And some of the top motocross guys saw me and thought it'd be pretty neat to see if I could start wheeling around these motocross tracks. And at the time I could wheelie around them a little bit, not too great, but I started practicing and I got to where I could ride around the tracks. And got sponsored by Kawasaki in 1979 through 81 and sponsored by American Honda from 81 to 84. And brought me here today. There's no real secret to what I do. If there is any secret, I guess it's practice. I put a lot of hours into practicing. I make it look really easy, but I've spent my time and I've paid my dues. I got a lot of scar tissue on my elbows and my knees to prove it. This particular bike is a Honda CR250. It's got a couple modifications. It's got a bigger sprocket on the back, which is probably the most noticeable. 75 tooth, 13 on the front. Carburetor's on a 45-degree angle, so the thing actually, runs better when it's doing a wheelie. It doesn't run as good on two wheels on the ground as it does on one wheel. Being the Wheelie King has gotten me to a lot of places around the world. I've been to 12 foreign countries so far, and I'm hoping to go to a few more. I'd like to go over to China, and one of the things I'd like to do in China is wheelie on the China Wall. I'd like to make it over to the Soviet Union too, and wheelie around that country also. Also, wheeling's got me everywhere in the United States. I think I've been to every state in the Union except maybe one, and I really couldn't tell you what that one is. I don't tell anybody to do this. I don't tell anybody not to do it. If you're going to ride a wheelie on a motorcycle or an ATV, always wear a good safety helmet and good protective clothing, good motocross gear. Stay off the city streets and the sidewalks. You don't want to get busted by the coppers. And just be safe and have fun.
Don't face each other. Thumbs up on the low. They get ready to go. No, wait. Man, it's a green flag.
What's it like to drive a monster truck? Driving a monster truck is one of the most exciting things you can ever do. You get in there, you've got complete control of everything around you. You feel like nothing can stop you. It takes some technique. You gotta go out, you gotta study your course, you gotta study your cars, the position of the cars. The course constantly changes. You got 16 trucks out there, or 5, or whatever the race you're at. The course constantly changes. So you get out there, you line up, you pick your path, you close your eyes. No. The audience is one of the most important parts of what we're doing. We feed off of the adrenaline that comes from the audience. The audience gets excited, gets us going. And we get paid to go out there and show off with our big trucks, all our horsepower. We feed on that. So when the audience is excited and exciting, that goes right through us and comes out in our performance. So a lot of times your truck may not even be running good, you may have some problems. You overcome it all just based on what you're getting from the crowd. There's nothing like an exciting crowd. We go to a lot of facilities, the stadiums are small, you can feel that penetrate the vehicle when you're out there racing.
And we got Mr. Mike Smaller back there as he's bringing up the beautiful blue bomb. We call it Danger from Portland, Oregon. And that good truck we saw yesterday was a fine Chevrolet with the rocket as that president for. Now the one that truck with their golden state promotion. Remember again, as far as by Mr. Leo was David, and this case is made by Mr. Jerry Johnson.
Hi, I'm Frank Scattini. I own and drive the Big Dummy 3 monster truck. Pretty large street truck. I'd drive around and kept getting in trouble, getting tickets, and so I figured it was a good time to turn that street truck into a full-blown monster truck. I built Big Dummy 3 as a project vehicle for Off-Road magazine, and just went from there. And I built a decent truck, so I went out and started running it in the circuit and racing and exhibitions, all kinds of crazy events all over the country. Started off by coming up with some pretty crazy theory and technique, a lot of off-road sports put together, and designed a suspension first of all, and then all the body mods and all that came with sprucing it up for the magazine article. I ended up with one heck of a truck. The design took a long time to figure out how I was going to do everything, and then just went to work, built it, and it's a little bit obsolete now. It's kind of heavy, but I'm building a big dummy 4 monster truck. A lot lighter, gonna be really fast. Well, I originally built this truck as like an exhibition vehicle, but I built it well enough to jump over the cars pretty decently. So I've been involved in a few races, Anaheim Stadium, San Diego, Jack Murphy Stadium. New truck I'm building is going to be designed mostly for racing only. It's still going to be built really clean and, of course, real nice paint job, show exhibitions, all kinds of good stuff, but mostly for race. It's going to be pretty fast. Well, I raced motocross for about 8 years and switched over to the monster truck racing. Nothing like motocross, but what's great about the monster truck is you can hit the cars the same way, same speed every time, and you always go a different direction. That's a real exciting feeling, and controlling it, and the horsepower, and handling the weight, controlling the vehicle. It's a real thrill. You got to try it sometime. Getting it around the country in the tractor trailer, that's a lot of work too. You know, you gotta get the truck loaded up, get it from place to place, make it on time always, and then put on a good show. I do well. Jumping it the first time, I was just got up there in the air and was hoping it'd land rubber side down and shiny side up. But you know, eventually you get used to it, you get a little more control, and just start gassing it more and more, get higher, fly further, and. Can't wait to get my new truck done, because that's going to go 3 times faster than this truck, fly much higher, be a lot more fun.
A typical race. You get into the truck, you kind of got to get yourself psyched up. So generally you walk up to somebody who's in the pits with you, have them slap you around a few times, give you a good few smacks upside the head, get you really stoked up. You get in the truck. The first thing you want to do is really, the absolute first thing you have to do is make sure all your safety equipment's intact. After you do that, you know that you're ready to go out there, you get on the track, you pull up to the line, you harness yourself in, you got a 4-point harness, you got 2 come over your shoulders, 1 that comes over your lap, and 1 that comes up between your legs. You get it all cinched in tight. That's the most important part. You got to keep your torso strapped in. Then comes the fun part. You look over at your opponent you're about to race, you figure, how can I get him out of his game plan? Everybody knows the object is to get to the end first, but you want to psych this guy out a little bit. So sometimes you can see if they're real anxious to get to the line and go, you take your time. You make him wait for you a little bit. If he's in a hurry, you make him wait. If he's making you wait, you get up there, you get in a hurry, you start revving your motor, you start doing anything to take him out of his game plan. As soon as they give you the thumbs up, that means it's time to go racing. From then on, it's just put her in gear and put her to the floor.
What kind of race is this? They put themselves and their trucks on the line. Winner take all. Loser loses all. It's the biggest American motorsport. It's Monster Truckin USA 2. With rigs like Rocky Mountain Thunder, the Frequent Flyer, Dangerous Toy, Explorer, High Voltage, Hot Stuff, Wizard, American Graffiti, Carolina Crusher, Danger Zone, Robo Shark, and the California Kid. They're all doing battle with 800-pound wheels and 1,500 horsepower big-inch V8s. When one of these babies gets airborne, you know it's gonna land hard. 12,000 pounds of flying steel, landing on and crushing cars. That's the Monster Truck way. Monster Truckin USA 2.
Hey, my name's Terry Woodcock, and I'm in Bakersfield, California. I run out of Ed's 4x4 repair service in Bakersfield. I've got 3 monster trucks presently running the circuit, and I'm building a 4th and 5th truck. Also building a tank school bus for the children to ride in. And this truck right here is called a Frequent Flyer. Ford sponsored by Ed's and Pro Comp, also sponsored by Rewarder Headers. And it used to be called Dangerous Toy. I know a lot of people remember that truck. It was quite popular. We changed the body. All my trucks' bodies interchange. It takes about 20 to 25 minutes, and we can have any body on any truck. So it makes it pretty good for racing. When things change, you never know what's going to happen. We've been on our top, on our side. Everything that can happen will happen.
And over this way, we have another truck. It's called the Wizard. Right now, we're getting ready to rename it. It's going to be the Explorer for Pro Comp. They're going to do some sponsorship for us out of 4-wheel parts wholesalers. This truck used to be called Dare America, and then it was called the Big Toy. Now it's called the Wizard. This truck's got cantilever front suspension, which doubles the shock travel in the front. On this one, we have 28 inches. On the back, we have 14, like the Frequent Flyer, which also has 14 front and rear. All my trucks have the fiberglass bodies. They're all tube frame. They're all coilover suspension, Clark Planetaries. They've all got rear engines. They're all center seat drive trucks.
Well, I don't know. I think jumping is like probably the greatest thrill that anybody could ever experience, because here you are, you've got all this space and it's below you, and ordinarily your body says don't jump.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's incredible. It's because your body has never experienced anything like that before. I mean, never. And it's just, you're going up, and if you're doing the crane one, you're going up, you're seeing everybody down there that's about to watch you do it getting smaller and smaller. You're watching the airbag getting smaller and smaller, and it's
you continue to climb.
Right.
You go higher and higher and higher. It's not the kind of thing that people who have a fear of heights can do. There's a lot of fear definitely involved.
Right. You know, I mean, it's just funny how many people talk about doing it, and then they get there, they look at the crane, they look at, they watch somebody do it, and they said, maybe. Yeah, but it's, and that's the thing, once you're up there, you're just looking at all these little tiny people.
But you can't back out because all those people are looking at you.
Right.
So you got to go through.
Once you're on the crane, man, there's no turning back.
And once you go through with it, boy, are you glad, because it is something that you have never experienced before. It's absolutely a pure adrenaline rush, and that's all it is. There's like that second of time where your body goes, uh-oh, you goofed, it's too late, you're gonna die, and then you feel the tug of the cord and you bounce back. It's something that everybody should experience at least once.
I was talking to this one guy who said when the first time he jumped, he like let go of the thing, he got the countdown, he let go, and was at that second when your stomach drops off. He said he's like started flapping his arms. He thought, you know,
but he's flying.
he thought he was gonna try to, because yeah, it's a natural response. Your body says that's it, you blew it, you're dead. But
and there's the other thing too, where your body and your mind sometimes thinks that, oh, so many things could go wrong. You could hit the ground, the cord could break, you could hit your head on the platform. There's so many things that could go wrong if the equipment is just not up to par, that you really have to watch it. But you know, once the equipment works and you work and it all happens, boy, there's just no other feeling like it.
Yeah, you know, there've been accidents, but you know.
And we're not necessarily even daredevils. We're just guys who like a little bit of a thrill. Daredevils, I think, like to present themselves with a measure of failures, you know, to make it more of a 50-50 chance that you possibly could go wrong. But we're just exactly the opposite. We're so incredibly safety conscious that you know, everything is checked out before, and you know, do not do this if you're an amateur. You've got to really have it together in order to do this the right way.
And the people running the thing, I mean, if it was unsafe in any way, they wouldn't let you go, you know?
Exactly.
They wouldn't even set up the crane. I mean,
because the thing that these people do not need is you know, some kind of death hanging over their head. So everybody's really careful about it. So I don't, you know, when people call us daredevils, it's like, no, I don't think so, because we're not daring. We're not leaving anything to chance.
Yeah.
We're trying to make it as safe as possible. Because hey, we don't want to get busted up. We just want to have a little, you know, adrenaline rush, a little thrill.
That's what it is, man. It is.
You just got to close your eyes and go. You just got to do it.
Now, I love monster truck events. My brother and I come down here as much as we can, you know, to these things. We take our own personal trucks out here. Everything about them is extreme, and that's what, a good example is the loser's truck at a race. A lot of times they'll destroy it. They'll destroy the entire thing just for the crowd. It's that kind of audience participation, and they really get involved with it. And they do it differently every time. Like sometimes they'll take the loser's truck, the loser from the monster truck event, and they'll trash it with the other monster trucks. This particular event, my brother and I were racing our own personal trucks in, was a little bit different. And they took Muscle Beach up, the loser of the monster truck event, and they hoisted up the top of a crane and dropped it. I mean, you know, it's just these wild kind of ideas, you know, and it's really extreme. I mean, who would think of dropping like that thing weighs tons, and it's a real gas. I mean, you know, we like to like go around and do a little off-road driving and stuff, and you know, to tell you the truth though, neither of us have got the money or a lot of the time to like get our trucks into like, you know, full race condition. So basically they're just, you know, he's got an old stock Chevy, like a 65, and I've got a Jeep, and you know, we take him out to these things because it gives us a chance to, you know, go through a course, see what it's like, you know, to you know, drive these courses as fast as we can, get a little bit of competition in, and, you know, see what it's like to race under pressure in like a big arena, and to you know, go through the whole rigmarole of filling out the forms and being in a race. And, you know, eventually, if we get more money and stuff, we start dumping into our cars, we'd like to, you know, keep doing it all the time and maybe do it full time. Maybe eventually get to the point where we'll get monster truck, get a monster truck and start driving in circuits, you know, around the country. But the events and the monster truck races are just fantastic because it's this broad spectrum appeal that they have to all kinds of people. You can come down here, you know, with your friends, your family. Everybody can come down here and just hoot and holler and just like scream and egg on your favorite monster truck. or everybody's got somebody that's driving, you know, their own truck, you know, when it comes time, you know, for the personal course. And everybody can get involved, you know, like cars, motorcycles, everything gets involved here, and it's really challenging. The course, you know, from a distance, you look at it and go, oh, it looks like a couple of hills, so that looks pretty easy. Well, you get on it, and it's not easy. If you drive it hard, you're usually going to wind up breaking something. Hopefully not yourself, but you'll wind up breaking something on your truck. My brother's truck broke an axle, and we found out after he got through the course. And it's not that uncommon. You find out that, like, in fact, I have a suspicion that a lot of the guys who come down here even try to, like, wreck their trucks. And it's like they have this, they just keep pushing it a little bit harder each time. And you know, you get a great thrill out of it. I mean, you hit these, you hit the course, and these bumps and these hills really hard, and before you know it, you're flying through the air and you're landing really hard, and you get a little used to that, and pretty soon, before you know it, you're doing it more and more. And sooner or later, something breaks. And I think a lot of these guys come out here want to do that intentionally, because a lot of what they're bringing out here are old, beat-up trucks that have been, you know, second cars for a long time, and they've just been sitting around taking up space, and so they trash them. They'll lose a tranny. They'll wipe out the front end or something. It really doesn't matter to them, and they'll just want to push themselves and their truck to that point. And that's one of the really great things about it, because everybody in the stands is screaming and hollering and really egging everyone on to, like, just keep getting more air, to keep getting, you know, higher on those jumps, to keep pushing it harder on the hill. And this is a great spirit. When my brother and I saw that the big monster truck, Muscle Beach, the loser of the race, fall on the crane, I mean, it was just incredible. There was this electricity that just went through the entire crowd. It just it can't even be described. And that's a really good example of, like, the kind of things that would happen at monster truck events. You know, this has got to be the only country in the world, the USA, that has got monster truck events. I can't imagine that they would have it in France, and I can't imagine any other country really getting into it or having the broad base support. And it's just fantastic. I mean, where else are they going to take a big, gigantic monster truck and waste it, drop it, and then everyone immediately comes up to these things and just checks them out and talks about them, and it's really exciting. It's just a great event that everyone can come down to, everyone can kind of participate in. And it's something that'll be going on for a long time. I think it's definitely part of the American car culture. And I'm going to be coming back for sure.
The tank, like I said, is 1948 M4, and it's an old military surplus I got from back east. It'll have the van body on it, the school bus, and it's, again, sponsored by Ed's 4x4, along with everything I've got. It'll be the first tank I've ever had. I've had several monster trucks in the past. I've been involved in building 31 monster trucks to date and mud tractor tire trucks. We've been running out of Ed's for several years. Ed has a tractor tire 4x4 truck that won first place in a point series, and I had one that won second place in point series, so we're pretty proud about what we bring out of Ed's 4x4 repair. All our trucks do very well. I'm standing in front of RoboShark. It's my newest truck, just built January 7th of this year. RoboShark is kind of a new idea for me. I have a shark's head that I've been trying to build to make it actually look like the animal itself, with the teeth, the jaws. The mouth will open up with response to the throttle. RoboShark started out where I thought I would just cross a truck and an animal, a shark, as a machine. That's where the two names came together. RoboShark, like the other two trucks we looked at, is a tube frame, rear engine, coil-over suspension, planetary truck with center seat driving. It's also got the exchangeable fiberglass body along with the other two trucks. Our new truck that we're building is a concept vehicle. It's completely a creature that really can't be described, but it's along the same lines as RoboShark. And the shark's head on RoboShark should be done probably March of this year. We're in one of the three shops that we use right now, and this is one of the fiberglass bodies for one of the two new trucks we're building. We have the concept truck, which is a creature, and we have a new Chevy S10 extended cab truck. Along here we also have two miniature trucks. They're the ones I spoke of with the 6-foot 9-inch wheelbase that will have Dana 60 rear ends in them for front and rear steering, and it'll have rear engine, V6 in one and a V8 in the other. And in front of the two miniature trucks, you'll see part of the shark's head that I'm working on for RoboShark. When it gets done, it'll have fins, jaw, teeth, and the mouth will actually move opening and closing to expose the teeth to look like a real shark. That, again, is where our concept RoboShark came from. We want it to look like it's a shark that's coming out of a machine. But for me, it's very exciting. I love it. There's nothing in the world that feels better. It's a rush, like you would not believe. It would be like being in a jet doing Mach 3, I imagine. It would be like taking off into space. It's great. It's a great feeling. Well, so for the future, monster truck racing is constantly getting more competitive. The trucks are getting lighter. The suspension is getting much more state-of-the-art. The trucks are just performing a lot better, handling a lot better. And my truck's very stable. I'm building some new miniature trucks, and I kind of see that as the future. Actually, the monster trucks will stay in, but they'll also be a sideshow of the miniature monster trucks, which are the ones with the 6-foot 9-inch wheelbase, the Dana 60 front and rear steering, rear engine trucks that'll have about 1 horsepower for every 2 pounds. So it'll be a rather fast, wild ride.
You got it.
The Bug. What an evil creature. I've had the Bug for several years. I used to race motorcycles. I raced mini bikes when I was 11, 12, 13. Then I got into motorcycles and motocross. Then as soon as I was 16 years old, I was racing my car. Some places I shouldn't have been racing, I suppose. And from there, it just kept going. I actually got into 4-wheel drive kind of by accident. A friend of mine had rolled his four-wheel drive truck, and I had taken my two-wheel drive car off-road and tore the undercarriage out of it. So there it was. I bought his chassis, put it underneath my car, and had the first four-wheel drive 69 Dodge Charger. And then I thought, well, I'll come out to California and see what I can do with this, and continue to build them out here. And every time I've tried to do something else, I've always come back to it. It's something that's constantly on my mind that I love to do. It's an obsession, that bug.